So I am no longer using the Nuface device, and in this video, I'm going to share with you why. I used Nuface for years. I mean, so much so I have 2 devices. I would use them both at once. It works. It gives a subtle lift. It works. But I am no longer using it, and I am no longer recommending it. And because I've made a video about this in the past, and because no one's talking about this, I feel it's my responsibility, at the very least, to make a video on this topic. And to be frank, I find myself a little bit nervous to put this video together because I don't want to cause alarm. And I'm going to share some things that I think will reassure you if you are alarmed. Like, oh, I've used this device. Are you serious? So what I'm going to cover is what the Nuface is, my experience with Nuface, why I'm no longer using it, some interesting perspective that may be unexpected, and what I'm doing instead. But before I jump in, I want to give a big disclaimer. There is no evidence that the Nuface causes any damage to the skin. There is no evidence that it causes any fat loss, okay? There is no evidence. Plenty of people use Nuface and have used it for a long time and love it, all right, with no issues. So like I said, I've used Nuface for years. I've loved it. It gives a subtle lift. It's great. It's a microcurrent device. And let me read you the definition of what microcurrent is. Microcurrent technology, the Nuface device delivers low-level electrical currents, microcurrents to the skin and underlying muscles. These currents mimic body's natural electrical signals and stimulate ATP production, which is essential for cellular energy and regeneration. The Nuface device is cleared by the FDA, and it's really great at just like giving like a subtle lift and very convenient. So that's what it is. But like any other addition to a routine, I've struggled to be consistent long-term with Nuface. Sometimes I'd be in the habit of having them at my desk and using Nuface during the day. Other extended periods of time I didn't use it at all. About a year ago, I put together this video about all the aesthetic things I did over like 10 years, how much money it cost me, what was worth it, what wasn't. And that video, I got so much hate, like so much, which is warranted because like if you're some random woman and you're talking about how much money you spend on these aesthetic procedures and you don't necessarily like look like you're 18, like people are gonna come for you, I guess. And that's what happened. It really was hurtful. I was really upset. It made me realize like if all these things I did, if all this money I spent made me feel confident, I probably wouldn't be bothered by it. But what I realized with like aesthetic endeavors is it's never enough. There's always going to be something. With that, I just found myself over time being like, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to be doing things like red light, but I'm not going to invest all this time and money into all these different things because I can't say I feel any better having done all of that. If anything, probably worse. That's another video. But I think that was a big piece of why I just stopped using Nuface, is because I'm like, it's not worth it to me anymore. And what's weird is like at the end of that video, if you were to see it, I talked about how like moving forward, I was going to use these at-home devices, but I ended up not. I ended up just kind of like giving up a little bit, or like I'm moving on. And so recently I was on Reddit. I freaking love Reddit so much. If ever I need like a real product recommendation, I'll go there, and there's like these different forums where people will share like their holy grail products, no affiliate links, so like you get a sense of credibility and all that. And I was looking up some product, and somehow I came across this discussion about the Nuface device causing facial fat loss. And I was surprised at just how many people said, yeah, I really regret using the Nuface. It's caused my face to sag over time. There are plenty of people that are like, oh, I haven't had that experience, or there's no research to support this, it wouldn't do that. But I found myself thinking, goodness, maybe, the way I've aged in the past years was contributed to Nuface. And that alone, like, let's just say, this is all in people's minds, because that could very well be the possibility, which is an interesting perspective I'm going to share with you soon. But this could all be in people's minds, and we're all just aging naturally. But if we think our aging process has been accelerated by something that's meant to make us look better, that is really upsetting. It feels like you were taken advantage of. And that reason alone, maybe it doesn't cause fat loss at all. Who knows, right? But to spare myself from even thinking that I made things worse out of my desperation to look better, like to avoid that in itself, I don't want to use the device anymore, and I don't want to use any devices that have any claims of this, even if those claims are purely anecdotal. And with all due respect, like, I don't need a white paper to help me draw a conclusion. You get enough anecdotal evidence from people, I'm gonna take that into consideration. So like, did it cause facial fat loss for me? I don't know. I don't know if any of the things I've done over the past however many years have made me look older. There's no way for me to know. And I've really just got to let that go because it's a spiral to go down. But here's another thing, that this is just a perspective to share with you. In the past probably 5 years, there has been so much concern about facial fat loss that I'm convinced there's some level of a self-fulfilling prophecy. That people are so concerned about it, they end up creating it. Call it placebo, call it manifesting, but it's just interesting because just about everything, whether it's retinol, people are convinced it causes fat loss. If it's red light, people think it causes fat loss. If it's microcurrent, people think it. All the lasers, people have said, my gosh, my skin's gotten thinner. And maybe it's influenced by this concern of losing facial fat. If you read any research, any books about placebos, you really would not believe it. You would not believe the study of a surgeon who was going in to fix somebody who had like this great deal of pain in their abdomen, only to surgically open the person up and close them back up, do no surgery, and then the patient says the pain is gone. That's a type of placebo. There's like endless examples. I'm gonna try and keep this video short. So I think there is something to this kind of obsession right now about being younger, keeping facial fat, and this fear of losing that facial fat that in some way can influence people to see and experience a loss in facial fat. Especially am curious about this because I know how my mind and using affirmations and visualization techniques have helped me transform my body. Surely it could work in the opposite direction. If I'm not conscious of what my beliefs are and I'm not conscious of how those beliefs can influence me in a negative way. So could it be that the Nuface doesn't cause facial fat loss per se, but the fear of fat loss contributes to it being a kind of vehicle for it? There's something there. So whether the Nuface absolutely causes fat loss or people's beliefs about it and concern about losing fat is the cause, it really doesn't matter to me. I would just rather not. I would rather spare myself from being concerned with, did I make the wrong choice? Did the thing I was using to look better actually make me look worse? Because it's just such a horrible feeling to experience. And I sincerely believe that our minds are so powerful. I mean, you just start to learn about quantum physics and you will see that for yourself. So that gives me some hope for the people who sincerely believe that they did have facial fat loss. I think there's a lot that we can do that doesn't require a device to reverse that. Much of my content in the future will be sharing techniques with you that I have learned and I have experienced have worked really well for me. Some of these things I'm still testing, but there is something to this. So just to give you some that you can take from this video, one of them that I've talked about more recently is visualization. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what you visualize and what you actually experience. And that's one of the big reasons why athletes, professionals, etc. are such big proponents of visualization. I actually recently came out with an ad-free guided meditation to visualize your dream body. You can also incorporate your face in that. There's also different resources here on YouTube where people have guided meditations to look younger, something to look into. If you're still here and you do want to learn more about the techniques and things I'm testing and things I'm working on, please be sure to subscribe and hit all notifications. That way you'll be notified when I make a video. And if you think others would benefit from seeing this, be sure to like it. That really helps it be shared with others. Finally, this is a kind of different approach I'm taking where it's like less edited. Like I sit on my floor all the time, but it's like a less edited look, and I would just be curious like what your thoughts are on this. Do you prefer a more highly produced video, or does this also work? I would really actually love your perspective. If you want to leave a comment below or shoot me a DM on Instagram, I really appreciate it. So with that, this is not the happiest of videos, but I, again, feel like it's my responsibility to share my change in opinion. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.